A week after the gun incident, I thought things would settle down. I was wrong. That morning, a thick envelope from the HOA arrived, stamped with big, bold letters demanding I pay all outstanding fines immediately for alleged violations I hadn't committed. They claimed I owed tens of thousands of dollars for ignoring lakefront regulations and warned that if I didn't comply, they would demolish my cabin. I ignored it. It wasn't the first time the HOA had tried to flex their imagined power, and I had no intention of paying for rules that didn't apply to me. But by late afternoon, I got a call that made my stomach drop. A local contractor had arrived with heavy machinery, ready to tear down my lake cabin. I drove up as fast as I could and froze for just a moment. The bulldozer had already started, ripping into the front porch of the cabin. Dust and splintered wood flew into the air, and I could see the crew working like nothing was wrong. My heart pounded, but then I noticed the way they suddenly stopped moving, staring at the emblem on my jacket. It was subtle but unmistakable, my federal badge. The shift in atmosphere was instant. Confident demolition workers turned pale and hesitant. I walked up calmly, holding up my badge. "Stop. You are destroying federal property. This is my property, and any further damage will be considered a federal offense." The crew froze completely, their equipment idling, unsure whether to proceed or retreat. The supervisor stammered, "We were told by the HOA." "I don't care what the HOA told you," I interrupted, my tone firm. "You're done here. Leave immediately, or you'll be facing serious charges." Meanwhile, the HOA board was on speakerphone, their voices panicked and frantic. "This is ridiculous. You have no authority." "I have more authority than you realize," I said evenly, glancing at the cabin that had been my weekend refuge for years. "Continue this, and you will find out exactly how federal property protection works." Within minutes, the equipment was shut down and the crew drove away without another word. I walked around the cabin, assessing the minor damage, then called my insurance just to document everything. The HOA board had no idea what hit them. They were used to homeowners caving to threats, fines, and intimidation. They hadn't counted on someone who could back up their rights with actual power. By evening, the HOA had sent a flurry of emails apologizing, claiming miscommunication, and promising not to send anyone near my property again. They also quietly removed all fines from my account, though they tried to spin it as if it was a generous gesture. The lake cabin incident quickly became the talk of the neighborhood. Everyone whispered about how someone had dared to ignore the HOA and not only survived but completely humiliated them. Even Karen, who had tried to threaten us just a week before, sent a terse message about respecting rules but never followed through. For me, it was a quiet victory. My cabin was safe, my property respected, and the HOA had learned a critical lesson. Intimidation only works if the other party fears your empty threats. That night, sitting on the porch of my lake cabin with my wife, I poured us both a glass of wine. "You think they'll ever leave us alone?" I asked. She smiled faintly, her eyes reflecting the golden sunset on the lake. "They'll try, but they won't succeed. Not now. Not ever." The cabin stood tall and intact, a symbol of boundary, law, and the undeniable truth. Power isn't given. It's backed by skill, authority, and a willingness to enforce it.